be bought or sold. Why do they hide the ball? The lies which are spoken and stories told will be their downfall. On the road, traveling for truth, a journey unknown. From motion sides to the center lines, we'll find the answers never shown. Never shown. The shadows loom, we plant a seed. The sun comes up and the flowers bloom. Truth shall be freed. A journey unknown. From ocean sides to the center lines, we'll find the answers never
All right, welcome everybody to a Crimes After Dark on a freaking Friday. Is it a freaking Friday? It's freaking Friday night. Welcome to the show. Somebody asked who wrote the song and who sang it. Well, that is mostly an AI generation. We have some people who worked with tools like Suno to create the lyrics and to create the song and the vibe, and it's badass. It is awesome. We love it very much. It is a collaboration between human and computers, so hope you enjoyed that. Hope that doesn't ruin the song for you, that we didn't have the money to hire an actual heavy metal guitarist and whatever to do the song for us. But although we do have musicians on the show, so there's that. Maybe we could get them to actually do us a song sometime. Anyways, let's get the panel assembled. Dago from True Crime Cafe. We got Robin, my co-producer. We got JJ from State of the Deep. One's missing, but I think he's going to be here a little bit later, if I recall, right?
Yes, he will be here a little bit later.
All right, sounds good. All right, so welcome to a Friday night. We don't have a lot scripted. Again, we do mostly a live show. We just do it live. We don't have a script. We don't tell, sometimes there's breaking news. I don't know that there is breaking news today. Dago's already got the freaking drumsticks going. But anyways, yeah. We don't have any breaking news. What's going on, Dago? How you doing?
I'm good. That song's in my head now. Sorry.
It is pretty, that's pretty bad.
Every time I hear it, I wake up and start. I play backstage.
Yeah, that's me too. Like we can come in low energy backstage and play music like that and get all like fired up and ready to go. So
that's what the intro that we have that Robin made, not the newest one, the one before that.
Yeah,
that has the heavier song. That always gets me like wired. I'm ready to go every time. It's crazy.
Yep. Yeah. We've got a lot of really.
The new one is awesome too. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't saying that. It's just
we have a whole library of music.
No. It's a different. The new one's a different.
The type of music pumps me up like crazy.
Yep. Yeah. I get that. What's up with you, JJ? What's new in your world?
Today, no big excitement. Just getting some stuff done at home and whatnot, and cleaning up the garage a little bit. Trying to get caught up on some stuff.
Very cool. Have you ridden the bike much more? Or?
No, it was kind of cold and rainy the last few days.
Yeah.
So hopefully this weekend I'll get out and do a little bit of riding in the area. You got to catch it at the right time up here, because if you'll get some sun and stuff, and then in the afternoon the clouds roll in and you get afternoon showers. It got pretty cold here today. So hopefully the next 2 days I'll get out.
Well, I hope you enjoy it. I've always wanted to ride a motorcycle around. I mean, I've ridden a motorcycle before, but not owned. I've never owned one. I wish I could own one. I wouldn't even tell you what bike I wanted, because it would be an embarrassment. It's so old, because I'm old. So
come on, give it up. What was your bike that you had your eyes on?
It was a Honda Shadow from like way back. I liked the Shadow bike. I liked the way they looked, and I was like, that was my bike I wanted to own, because it was the one I could afford. Like I couldn't afford a Harley. In fact, I didn't like Harleys because I felt like you almost like to own a Harley, you kind of have to be a dick, because you really don't give a shit about anyone's ears when you ride a Harley. You're like, fuck you. I don't care if you don't like my motor. You will fucking listen to it. Like that's what it feels like if you ride a Harley.
You're gonna do the same thing to a Honda Shadow. You know that.
No, they're not that loud.
Yeah, you can be.
They can be if you put the right pipes on them, for sure.
Sure.
Well, see, I wouldn't be that guy. I'd be all polite and shit.
I don't know why I thought you were gonna say the Honda. What's that other one, JJ? It looks like a spaceship. Shit.
Like a crotch rocket?
No. It's a big ass thing.
Goldwing?
Yeah, the Honda Goldwing. I thought you were going to say that.
Luggage bags on the side. Yeah.
Yes, that thing is like, it almost looks too comfortable to ride. You know what I mean?
It's like 1,000 pounds, that bike.
It's huge. It's monstrous.
My brother had one. He just sold it recently.
Is it Triumph loud like a Harley, or is it not loud?
Well, it's the pipe. It's the aftermarket pipes that people put on those bikes that make them really loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But isn't a Harley out of the factory already loud, or do they people just modify?
I mean, they have modified. A certain sound, that V-twin Harley V-twin sound. They're not quiet.
No,
right.
But
they're
the
not
really loud ones that you hear. Those guys have pipes on it to make them really loud.
Yeah. I got a guy that lived down the street from me when I was when my older kids were younger, I hated this dude. I loved his bike. I hated him because he would. I swear to God, he did it on purpose. He would go by every damn night. He's probably coming home from work, and he would get. We lived near a stop sign, so he'd hit the stop sign, and then he'd leave from the stop sign. And when he would gun it, his pipes were so I can't remember what he had, but they would snap. That's how loud they were. Okay, like crack
Right.
and crack. I'm like, you son of a bitch! You just woke him up again. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
every night. But anyway, I loved
think
the
that's
bike.
part of the attitude of having a Harley. You just want to piss everybody off. This is what like. I bought a Harley because I want to piss everybody off.
Yes, it can be obnoxious. I don't
It
like
can.
loud bikes.
Yeah.
Like I like a nice sounding bike. Like you can put a pipe on it that's not crazy loud.
Yeah.
It just will open the sound up a little bit. But I'm not down with the guys with like crazy loud pipes on their bikes.
No.
Fair.
No point in it. No point in it. I always wanted an old, I think it was a 60. Oh, shit. 69. I think it was a 69. It was old and it was a fat boy. It had the
Oh yeah.
it sat real low to the ground. It had the real big ass single seat on it. Those were just badass. I loved them. I think it was 69. Anyway, I loved that look of the bike. That's what I would have got if I could have or built or whatever. But I had a crotch rocket back when I was real young. I had it about 6 months, and I laid it down. Some of the creature, she's like, "You're done. Get rid of it," and I was done.
Dago wants an old 69. I get it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we are a true crime show, despite the fact that sometimes we get off on tangents
It's
like
Friday.
bikes and music and shit. It is Friday. Friday just feels like it's supposed to be that way. So, Dago, sorry, not Dago. One had sent me something backstage, and I don't know. And you and I talked about it, Dago, backstage. Is that conversation I was talking to you about the Steve Gonzalez and the Cyray thing? Is that a newer thing, or is that really old that's resurfacing? Because all I've got is date. I got timestamps. I don't have a date at all. I don't have any context.
I
of what
think
video
it's a
was
couple
from.
months. I think it's been a couple months old. I think.
So it's old news. The reason why I brought it up is because it made me have some new perspective, perhaps, of what Steve Gonzalez is about. But again, if it's old news, I hesitate to talk about it. But
yeah, it's not like super old, from back in the beginning, but it's not brand new either. So
y'all know that episode of South Park did at the Harley Riders? That's what I think about people who ride those things. No, I didn't see South Park. I would love to see South Park's take on Harley.
Damn, Harley Rider. Yeah.
You guys are riding motorcycles and stuff, and I was learning how to drive an 18-wheeler and tractors.
There you go.
Nice.
When I was-
Nice.
Now, true story, my stepdad, when I was about 11, it was quite a ways from our house to the bus stop. And he didn't like me walking during the real bad weather in the winter. So he taught me how to drive. He had an old Opel. It was a German make car. He had an Opel, and he taught me how to drive it. And 11 years old, I'm driving that thing back and forth to the bus stop.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
All right. Do you guys have any thoughts on your mind that you want to talk about? You want to put the link, by the way, Robin, for backstage, so that people can, or not for joining us backstage in case anybody wants to join us. And what'd you have, Robin?
Yeah,
you had your
I
finger.
will do that. Just real quick, I just, if I could, before I forget it, because that's how my mind works. I want to let everyone know, Robin, the technology gods hate her. And so I'm not going to announce when I'm going to have the first video up on our channel until it's actually in the bag. As well as I did not like the last video I filmed. So I will let you know as soon as it's in the bag. And so it is coming. So I don't want people thinking, oh, she started a channel and she's not doing it. Because that'll be the next thing. But no, technology hates Robin, apparently. So
yeah,
I will keep you informed. So
very cool. Very cool.
Looking forward to it.
It's harder to do than people think. A lot of people, including myself, when you first think about the idea of doing YouTube or videos, you think, "Oh, I got this great idea, and I'm going to be a banger, and this is going to be awesome." And then you watch yourself, and you're like, "Man, I kind of suck at this." So I think that's everyone's experience. It looks super easy from the armchair. You're like,
Yep.
"I can totally do that," and then you get up there and do it, and you get
And-
intimidated, and you freeze on the camera. And
It's all the technology behind it is what sucks. Yes.
yeah.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. But the other thing, I had DA watch the first video, and he's like, "Well, this is good, but this could be," and I'm like, "Yep, you're absolutely right." So I want to put out. It doesn't have to be perfect. It won't be perfect. Our videos will never. You guys will get to see Essie because she decided she's going to do it with me. So you guys will get to see her.
Good.
So,
That was
but
cool,
yeah,
yeah.
so we're going to
Awesome.
revamp a few things and make it more cohesive so you can follow the story a little better from my ADHD brain. So yeah, so it is coming. So just bear with us, folks.
It's
Looking
funny.
forward
It's
to
funny
it.
you mentioned that I gave you pointers because I'm probably the last person to give people pointers. Like I'm
No,
not nailing it on
you're
YouTube
not the
either. So
last.
like me to tell somebody what they should, you might want to do this, you might do it. Like I haven't
Yeah,
figured
but
it out
you've learned a
myself
lot.
either. I have learned a lot. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm learning too. It's
Yeah.
definitely a
Great.
process. I'm going to be releasing
Yeah.
another video on Sunday morning.
Yay.
So
What's the
and then
subject matter? Can you
hopefully
tell us?
another one on Wednesday as well. So
What's your topic? What's your topic
that's
on
the
Sunday? Or
plan. Well, the next one, the one for Sunday, it's two. I always do more than one topic, and right now I'm still doing more general stuff that kind of sets the stage for later things that I'm going to do. It's going to be some psychology involved, talk about sociopathy and psychopathy and how it relates to bigger picture things. And then I'll talk about some of the bigger picture things related to that. And then as I go forward right now, the first several episodes that I do are going to be laying the groundwork, kind of just laying the foundation. And then later on, I'm going to zero in more specifically on specific things.
Very cool. That's good. Good.
Nice.
That's a nice ambiguous answer that
Cool
didn't say a
beans.
whole lot, but you said it anyways. You said it right. What's this? Dago, what are you doing with your fingers?
C I
I
A.
Oh yeah, see,
A.
yeah, he's a CIA. You can
I
say
thought he was going to
things.
do YM.
Yeah, we'll talk about them too. We're going to talk about that in Sunday's video. It all ties together. It'll all tie together.
Very, very cool.
You
So
have
are you-
influenced me, JJ. You truly have influenced me and given me some thoughts of something I've been talking to the mods about. I'm gonna start covering some conspiracy theory stuff because nobody likes to talk about it, and you can't when you're covering certain cases. But I want to start doing it just on my own. Like, let's talk conspiracy theory stuff. So
Yeah, I mean it's relevant if you can present it in a way. There's some quote unquote conspiracy content creators that it's for people that like the fun aspect of it. That's not what I do at all. That's not the angle that I come at it
Right.
from.
it's the mystery to it for me. You know what I mean? The mystery behind it. That's what I get off on with it. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting, especially when you see how many supposed conspiracy theories have been proven to be 100% true.
That goes with my T-shirt I'm selling in my shop. It says we need new conspiracy theories. All mine have come true. So,
Yeah, it's true, man. It's really it's kind of interesting. Well, one of my favorite shirts or slogans is we deserve better psyops.
right.
there you go. There you go. Speaking of topics, you said something to start off with. For the past 3 days, there's a new channel that came out. It goes by the name of Travis T Logic.
Okay.
You say it fast. Travis T Logic.
Travis T Logic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But his name is Travis T Logic. It's pretty cool. But anyway,
That's
He's
cool.
he studied statement analysis and he really good at it. So what he did was he's only been through he hasn't even gone through one full interview, or I think he just did one full interview, and that was the 6-minute interview of Dylan Mortensen with Detective Mowry. And he stops and he breaks the whole thing down. And I'm telling you guys, oh my God. Oh my God. It was so interesting. It was amazing. And he is on point. He went into this with no knowledge of the case other than just like very basic things. You know what I mean? None of the stuff we all know.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going into this with no knowledge of this. I'm going into this believing because he's heard. He hasn't like got into it, but he's heard that people believe that Dylan Mortensen is very nefarious within this, so on and so forth. Okay, fine. So we get through probably the first halfway through the first part of the first one. Wow. He's like he's marking things here. That's deception. That's deception. That's wrong. That's very like this and that. So at this point now, three parts in, he's done with it. She's definitely carrying guilty knowledge. She's deceptive as hell, all this and everything else. And I'm like, thank you, sir. It's kind of justification for something we've all been saying. Getting a new set of eyes, I thought it would be great for somebody that has no knowledge of what he's doing or well, what's going on, so on and so forth. And he goes into it that way and he's not even into it like 10 minutes and he's already made, the complete, there it is. She's absolutely lying, all those types of things. So it's amazing. He does a great job. You should check it out.
Yeah. That's
very interesting.
The question that leads me to the question, why is Dylan obviously not telling the truth?
Right.
Was it because she was involved, or was it because she was told
to
say the things that she said?
That's what we've been talking about too, JJ. And I asked everybody before we get into this, because Eddie joins me, and Eddie has had his theory on this from the beginning as to what it is. And I said, do you guys believe I call it the game, okay? That the game started before the 911 call or after the 911 call? Or before the murders or after, you know what I mean? Whatever way you want to look at it. And you figure out in your mind which way you want to go with that, and then you go forward from there. And I'm telling you what, it's crazy. Eddie believes that the law enforcement has a big involvement, and you can hear it in her interviews that they're leading her. They're basically telling her what to say, and the guy that does this, the statement analysis, is trying to figure out, I don't understand, like, why is he not doing this and why is he not doing that? Like, he should be questioning this. And I see, it looks like he's trying to get her to say something, because they're playing their game. It's the whole thing is law enforcement is telling her. I never realized how much Mowry leads her in that interview. So he says things like, so obviously you drank some and you slept in pretty deep, didn't you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And she went,
that right there. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, dude. And he does that. He does that a lot. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize it was that bad. And it really is. It really is that bad. He does that through the whole thing. So, and then obviously you didn't hear this, right? What? Yeah. And she just keeps going, yeah, and then the next interview, it gets worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, wow, you guys, this is just a disaster. It really is. And I think
the question I have to ask her is why are they coaching her? What if they're coaching her? Why are they coaching her? What are they trying to hide from everyone, or why? I mean, that was in the early stages before they even identified Brian Koberger. So what were they hiding in the beginning before they even had an idea?
Well, and that's the question. It's obvious they don't trust her to be able to tell the correct story. So they hold her hand and walk her through the entire story she's telling. Well, it takes me right back to JJ's thoughts. This is part of the operation. This is how they create the story and the narrative for it. That's how they did it. They took the tiny little piece that she had. We already know what they created in the initial PCA. There was no bushy eyebrows. There was no frozen shock phase. There was none of that stuff until they said it to her. And then once they put that out there, on they go. It's insane to me. We've never seen anything like this. And nobody says a word about it. He plays dumb through the whole thing. So tell me what room was whose. Oh, and then he brings up, so they're talking about Kaylee, and he goes, was she there? And there's no answer. And he go, was she one of the ones that got hurt? And we were all like, hurt? Are you serious? And he
Yeah.
pretends like he acts like he has no idea about anything, and then keeps on going. I'm like, wow, you guys, it's bad. It's so bad. And if you don't, and that's what kills me with the guilters. The guilters are like, see, they're doing their job. They're not doing their job. What are you talking about? How can you even
Leading the
remotely
witness.
see this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you know, the idea that there was an 8-hour delay, which I think we all believe that it was longer than 8 hours.
I'll go with 10 to 12. Yeah.
Yeah. And so the whole idea that they're pushing to the public is they want to, for some reason, they're pushing that it happened at the 4 a.m. time, 4 a.m. to whatever, 4:13,
Yes.
whatever it was, time frame. But why wouldn't law enforcement ever really address the delay with the two surviving victims?
Thank you.
It doesn't even make logical sense.
They don't even get close to
No.
it. They won't even get remotely close to it, JJ, at all.
Right. And so for me, the way that I break it down is I say there's a reason for that. There's a reason. That did not just happen by accident where they just decided not to ask them or push them about the 8-hour delay. So to me, I've said for a long time, I think they were coached up. I think somebody was there at the house the night before or early in the morning, but I tend to believe it was the night before that somebody was there and basically like a fixer. Somebody was called and they came in, or more than one person, but they had a contact person, I believe. And I don't even understand. And to Kathy's question or comment here, about this is the biggest point I think that you got to jump off from.
Yes.
Because if they didn't even ask about it, that means they're deliberately not asking about it.
Because I think they know about it. I think they know there was a cleanup period. I think they know those things, and that's why they're not asking about it. I agree with that, JJ.
Yeah. And so this all ties in with what I believe happened, which is I think they had something happened and they had a contact person for that house. This is just my part of my theory.
Yes.
And they reached out to them, and that whether it was law enforcement, whether it was the school, whatever, whoever it was, and the girls were coached up, and then they had to call 911 as a cursory thing to just cover the bases. Like you call 911 and act like it just you just found out about it, because none of the 911 call made any sense whatsoever.
No, it was completely fabricated, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just so
Yeah.
those are the most
think
basic.
you're right.
Those things, right?
Absolutely. I think that what you just said kind of may be a point. I think somebody was called through the school, possibly, because we know that within the sororities and the fraternities, the bylaws that they have state that you do not contact anybody until you contact whoever is in charge with the fraternity or the sorority. And that's their law. So I believe somebody may have been contacted through the school or the sorority or something, who knows. And then at that point going forward is when everything was put into effect. Okay, do this, and this, and we'll wait for this. And then at a certain time, we're going to call 911, and then we go boom, 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 going forward, and here we go. That's how I think this all happened, truly and honestly. Because nothing else, if you think about it, would ever make any sense. Truly.
Yeah, and one last thing, like my original theory from day one in the beginning, way before Koberger came into the picture, was that the 8-hour delay was because they had to clear out stuff from the house, right? Whatever it was, there were things in the house that they did not want to be there when they called the law enforcement.
Bingo.
And so whoever they spoke to told them what to do and helped them do it. And then when they called 911, because of that delay, they needed to have a story why they wouldn't have called earlier. So enter the passed out roommate story. Like you had no idea what happened, didn't know anything, didn't really hear anything other than the things that we found out later that they actually heard. So it's just, that was my original theory, but I still believe that theory is relevant with my larger theory. It's just, how could people overlook that? How could the mainstream media just gloss over that delay and the weirdness of that, the topic of that call?
Agreed.
Good question. Good
Nobody
question.
talks. They don't even get close to it. Like I said, if you listen to every one of the interviews, that's never brought up. Why didn't you call us at this point? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? They don't even touch on it or even get remotely close, like I said, which tells you there's something else behind it in that point. And Sarge, I see you here. He made a statement and he's got proof or he could explain. There's a link pinned, right? You guys put a link out, didn't you, Lee?
Yeah, for backstage, you mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you-
That's I saw Sergeant. I can bring Sergeant Friday up if you want to bring him up on stage, and we can.
If he's willing to do it, I'd love to hear his point on that. If you guys are interested.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. What's up, Sergeant Friday?
What's going on, everybody?
Evening, sir.
Hello.
Living the
Hi,
dream.
Robin.
How's it going?
Hello.
Where's one?
I don't know.
He'll be here. He's
supposed to
running
be
late.
here.
Maybe he's on 2. I think if you had one, we'll get 2.
That's right.
So it was a J. I can't read anymore. My eyes are getting bad.
JJ.
JJ.
Yep,
And,
yep,
the
yep.
What's up, Sarge?
And Lee. And Lee.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I spent some time reading that book and then listening to some of these interviews, and you guys are hitting it on the head. The police are creating the narrative. They're not getting the narrative
yeah.
from the. But here's
No.
something I think that's rather stunning. The book lays this out without saying it because I don't think the author is clever enough to see what he's saying. But the book shows that the cleanup came after the first responders were there. So you look at the
That's
book and he
interesting.
says that there was blood on the table.
Yeah.
There was blood running down the wall. Right?
Yeah.
He tells about these things that he witnessed.
Yeah.
As the officer.
Yeah.
And yet none of it's there.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
it's, you make a good point, and I want to be careful. I want to be really, really careful how I say this. I theorized, Moscow Police Department comes in with the prosecutor Bill Thompson and his assistant. They keep Kathy Mabbitt out of the house, and for 4 hours before Idaho State Police show up, so no other investigations going on, no other agencies arrived. They had 4 hours to say, okay, how are we going to spin this? Like, so if I'm just asking if they knew what happened and they wanted to divert what happened to some other narrative, they had 4 hours to potentially come up with a story. And so the question you have to ask is just what you said. Did the cleanup happen after the murders and before, 6 a.m. or 8 a.m. or whatever, before the first phone call came in? Or did it happen while there was 4 hours before any other agency showed up and they said, okay, here's how it's going to go down?
Listen, it
and
seems
so-
to me that it came after the police entered the premises before 5 o'clock, before anybody else showed up. And here's why I say that. We know the knife sheath was found somewhere different.
Yep.
Right. We know that the beer was moved. Right.
Yep.
We know that there were bloodstains under where the beer had been moved.
Yep.
And then we also know from the statements of the cop and on his body cam or from his own written words that there were bloodstains running down
Yep.
walls and on the table that were visible to him. Yet when
Yeah.
body cam footage came out of the ISP or whoever went through that scene, none of those things are what they were. Now, of course, the beer didn't move. That was moved, and the knife sheath was moved. But their descriptions and their arguments of what they saw as the first people through that house change when the reports come out.
And we also know that 8 different pieces of evidences were renumbered by Brett Payne. And so why were things renumbered? At what point did the renumbering of evidence happen, and why?
And the footprints leading out
Yeah.
the back door, heading towards the west side of the house into a neighbor's yard. Nobody really ever followed it up, but that was heading towards
No.
one of the Jacks stayed over in that other street there, King Road.
Yeah.
And those footprints were directed in that direction. They weren't going back behind the Queen Road Apartments where they claimed Brian parked. They were going complete opposite
Correct.
way. Yeah.
Yeah, they
Correct.
were
And there
heading
was an
towards-
argument. There was an argument made that footprint was made well before that night, and it had frozen over, and so the footprint wasn't from that night. But you're right; the footprint does lead towards Jack DeCour's house, which was a suspect in the case,
And it comes out of the sliding back door. It's directly related to that property, regardless of what time they want to make. You know, they make these arguments of when things happen at what time.
Yep.
And it just
Yeah,
doesn't
those are
add
great
up.
points. Those are great points. And I think that they're legitimate points to ask in a careful way. I mean, I don't want to accuse law enforcement of doing something wrong, but one has to ask. Well, again, the conclusion is it seems obvious a cleanup happened. The question is, who did the cleanup and when? And so I think you have to ask both the questions. Was it the quote unquote survivors who were involved in the cleanup and lied about things, or did the cleanup happen after law enforcement came in 4 hours before the first other agency showed up, like Idaho State Police? And they manipulated something. And then the question would have to be, the $1 million question has to be, why? What happened that someone decided they needed to clean up something so that they could tell a different story? That's the $1 million question. What's the reason for the cleanup? Why are they trying to tell a different story than what happened?
Multiple footprints.
Yeah.
Right? That would be one reason. There was evidence of multiple perpetrators, and they had to protect that. They had to get rid of that.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. And I suggest you the blood stain going down the staircase was probably deposited there by Dylan Mortensen.
There was a
Only
statement made.
Only because, listen, this is why I say I'm not really that careful about what I say, because I'm assessing the evidence they gave us.
Yeah.
And the only one we know went down the stairs is Dylan. So how could Ethan's blood get there? Well, because it must have come off of Dylan. There's no other way to explain it. According to their argument, it was one guy that went out the sliding door. So, in my assessment, based on the stuff they've shared with the public, Dylan put that blood print there from Ethan.
Right.
Right.
There was a statement made that somewhere, I can't remember where, but that Nunez had seen footprints in the hallway going to Xana's room. That never came out. I would like to see where that statement comes from.
But let's ask this question. So somebody wanted to clean up to hide the fact that there was multiple footprints or multiple perpetrators. So again, it leads the question: why was it important for the prosecution and or law enforcement to make this a single perpetrator event? Why would it have been important that early to make it a single perpetrator event and hide evidence that it was more than one person involved?
And an outsider. I think because the police department of the town itself was involved in some way.
Yeah.
That's what they had to protect.
Or combing that area. They had police all over that specific area. They claim it was to keep an eye on underage drinkers, but
right.
I don't know. But
yeah, they still they still haven't responded to. I believe I can 100% show University of Idaho and Moscow Police Department had a contractual agreement called the Master Services Agreement, which said that officers' special patrols were assigned to Greek life and off-campus housing. And I believe the undercover car / unmarked car that was parked on Taylor Avenue with a direct view between the Whites and the pre-house had a direct view of 112. I think that's what that car was doing there when the Banfield stop happened. And so because of that, I have asked Moscow Police Department and the University of Idaho, please confirm you have a master services agreement, and that night, during that time, you had a special patrol assigned to this master service agreement. What was the special patrol? Where were they? And what is the AVL data? Tell me where the car traveled. And they won't respond to it. It's been going on 2 months, and they won't respond to the request at all. Just ignoring it.
It was
they actually
stated.
had two.
They had two patrols that night?
They had two undercover cars. They had two, yeah. And it's that guy, one of the officers, the one that discovered the white Elantra. Remember, he left early too.
What's his name? Whitman or something like that?
Yeah, Whitman. You're right, Whitman. He left at not saying that means anything, but he did leave at 4 o'clock.
Between 4 and 7, he took time off or something. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Which is a very big questionable thing. And then you have to ask the other question too, that if it was stationed at the White Apartments in clear view of the 1122 house, patrolling that area in that neighborhood that night, it was stated years ago that it was known days or maybe even a week before time that this happened, that there was something, not 100% sure what it was, that may go down. And then you take that into account, the distancing that seemed to happen with everybody staying away from that house that night and the people in that house that night, the fact that there's a patrol that seems to be watching the house that night. Did they know something was going to happen? Were they trying to?
I think so.
I definitely think so. That's my feelings on this 100%, that they knew something was going to go down and then it happened anyway, right under their nose, like you've said before.
Yeah.
And at that point, you can't let that be known. That's a massive failure. Massive.
And what was it that didn't Steve Gonzalez say something to the effect of if they had been watching like they were supposed to, that wouldn't have happened? Like, didn't he make a comment like that?
Yep.
So I think he knew they were supposed to be watching the house too. I think they
do
knew.
believe
And I think that's the key to the thing. I think they knew something was going to go down, and either they're embarrassed that it went down right under their nose and they missed it because somebody distracted him. And that's the thing. Was the Banfield stop purely a distraction to get them to look the other way while something happened?
Very possibly.
Like but it makes you wonder, were they supposed to? They knew something was going to happen. They missed it on purpose or an accident. Let's say they missed it by accident, and it became a huge embarrassment. And now they have to cover up that they missed protecting that house.
But
very, very possible.
But the thing with that, I just can't see how they could have missed all that screaming and fight and stuff that we.
Maybe
heard.
they didn't. Maybe they didn't.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah, I don't believe that. Even if they were, bumbling idiots. I mean, they were driving around. They were right there. But that's what I said. Like I would love to get all the. I'd love to see all the body cameras from the whole night.
Agreed.
And the AVL and the AVL data, because the AVL data is key, because that's like you don't know like a lot of people wouldn't even know to ask for that, because there doesn't have to be a job, it doesn't have to be a 911 call. Like we want to know where was the unmarked, where were they at 1 a.m. or 1:15 a.m. when we hear, it sounds like a fight on the Linda Lane video, right? Where were they? Where were the unmarked cars that were driving around in circles?
Right.
There's a lot of comments that come out that I don't want to, I don't overreact to and take too seriously, but there's a new comment that I saw. I've heard it before, but it was a new comment I saw where someone said Nunez's body camera catches on camera a video camera on a house that faces 1122 King Road residence, the front door, that is now missing. And when you look at other videos later on, that same camera is gone. So if that exists, if there's video footage we can confirm from body worn camera that a camera is seen mounted on a house looking right at the 112 King Road house, and then later on you see it's missing, then that also is a major, they know something happened and they pulled the camera and hid it.
I told you guys before, there are 3 cameras that I know for a fact, I saw them with my own eyes, that would face the 1122, the front of 1122, on the back side of the whites, in the middle of that, and on the corner house. And for some reason, those cameras don't exist anymore. Where did they go? Roy was on boots on the ground walking. We saw them. And
I'll tell you, and if that's true, I'll tell you why you don't. If it's true, I feel like Art Bell. If this is true, and I hope that it's not.
Right.
If it is true, so if it's true, I'll tell you why you don't have those cameras. Because what you don't see is Brian Koberger going in or out of the house.
Right.
You see somebody else going in and out of the house. And
Exactly.
that's what they don't want you to see. They don't want you to see, one, that it's not Brian Koberger, because that shoots their whole conviction out the window. If you don't see him coming and going, how the fuck can that be possible? And you also will see somebody else, and that will also be a problem. And that would be why you wouldn't see those cameras.
And here's the thing too.
And
go ahead, Robin.
That also leads me to believe, if they're willing to take down cameras and stuff, what would prevent them or hold them back ethically or whatever from going ahead and altering footage?
Nothing.
And,
They've done it.
Audio. Exactly.
Yeah,
I've got
they've done
obviously.
it. Yeah.
So for all those guilters or whoever out there they're like, oh, no. That's why it is hard for me to completely trust some of the stuff that we're seeing on and hearing on these videos, that they're charging exorbitant amounts of money for us to even get.
Extorting money.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's think.
Yeah,
let's
there
think
you go.
this-
Better word.
Yeah. Let's think tank this for a minute. If they were watching the house and they kind of knew something was coming, what scenario? Just let's think tank this. What scenario would it be that Brian Koberger still could be the guy that they knew was coming to hit the house and they just missed it? Like, how can you make the two things work? It was Brian Koberger, but they should have stopped him and they didn't. Is there any scenario in that makes sense to you? That it was Brian Koberger and they were watching for him and they missed it, and now they're embarrassed that they missed it, so they'll just get him some other way, but it was still him at the end. Is there any scenario that makes sense or not?
Not to me.
No.
No, I don't see that. I also
No.
wanted to. Wade Bird made a comment a little ways back about the shifting of the timeline, and we have talked about this before. How because of the arrangement they had with the school, and because possibly a police officer was at that location earlier, they needed to shift the timeline for a few different reasons. Hence the reason why you would have a camera that's not being disclosed that would have seen
Right.
this person at that
Yeah.
location, that they don't want people to know they were at that location, because for what there could be many reasons, but one simple reason is they don't want to have to address that. Why was this
Right.
officer there at this time? Around this
Right.
time. So
Right.
that and then there's the whole angle of the patrol, the shifting of the
Right.
time because of the patrol issue, because they don't want to be indicted because they were supposed to be watching that area and this happened during the time of the
Right.
patrol. So I think there's a couple of different reasons for shifting the timeline, but I think there's probably one overarching reason that's more nefarious, which is they're hiding information from the public that might bring to light things that the school and law enforcement don't want to get out.
100%. And what Senor just said there,
Senior.
but that's a fact. He showed me the documents that he sent in, so on and so forth. Jules requested the any other surveillance besides 1112. She was told it doesn't exist. I requested. I was ignored and told we cannot fulfill your request. There is nothing that exists. But you have Chris Whitcomb stating that there is other surveillance video that's out there that we haven't seen.
Right.
We have Steve Gonsalves stating at one point that there's other surveillance out there that we haven't seen.
Yep.
I saw 3 cameras that I know of that I know for a fact are fucking cameras. There's no doubt in my mind that just aren't there anymore. And other people stating that there's cameras that are there that we haven't seen. So you tell me. And that makes perfect sense what you just said.
Let me ask you this. What would you call it in legal terms if law enforcement saw other cameras, pulled the cameras, didn't like what they saw for some reason, and just accidentally erased or lost the footage or whatever, and then tell the defense, I've given you all the discovery. There isn't any other video. It's just gone. Like, do they have to document that they took other cameras down? Does that have to be a part of the record? Is that not exculpatory evidence all day long that they pulled other cameras and just lost
The problem with that, though,
Sure
would be that the problem that you're not really looking at is the owners of those cameras would know it was on. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
So they're involved in the cover up then.
Yeah.
Right.
You've
That's
got
where
three
threats come into
different-
play.
And if they
Yeah.
were told to keep their mouth shut and
Oh.
threaten, well, or maybe
to
they
play
move.
devil's advocates, I have cameras on my house. It's recording all the time. I never
Right.
watched the footage. Never.
No, but if an
play
event
devil's
took
advocates,
place in
it is
front of
very
your house,
possible that somebody.
but if an event took place in
Say
front
what?
of your house, you certainly would review it.
Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
but
Some
what if they
people
got to it before I looked at it? What I'm saying is, like, if you're a neighbor and you've got a camera outside your house and police show up and say, "Can I grab that camera real quick?" before you've even looked at it. Now, some cameras record to the cloud and you can go look on the cloud and see what was there, but other cameras record locally, depending on if you don't want to pay for cloud-based storage. It could be just serving to an SD card. So the point being is, what I'm saying is, it's not implausible that a person had a camera of which they didn't see it because it was grabbed. The camera was grabbed too soon and they didn't see the footage.
Or they could have seen it. It was taken by I know this is a reach. They could have seen it. PD shows up and takes the camera and does what they do with them, just like they did with 1112. and gives it back. And guess what? The footage no longer exists. So at that point,
Right.
the person can come out and say whatever the hell they want to say. I saw this and that, and the police are going to say, prove it, because it's not there now. We
Right.
don't see it. It's their word against theirs.
Right.
Nobody's going to listen. It doesn't matter at that point. And I could see that happening too. So,
Yeah, and the thing is, we have talked about this many times. I think an important aspect that we don't talk about all the time is how much sway the university had over everything that took place relating to the investigation. And it's clear that there were, in my opinion, there were things covered up, and there were potentially camera footage drops or whatever that were altered. I mean, some of that footage doesn't add up. There's some weird things on that footage.
Here's a question I have. What was it took a long time for them to discover the footage and the audio of some videos or some information off. Okay, here's the question I have. Didn't somebody say along the way that they moved the timestamps on the video?
oh yeah, a couple times.
Right.
Yeah.
And my question is, was that moving it from a crime that may have happened during the 2 o'clock hour? Did they move the noises back that far?
It could be.
That's what I want to know. That's what I've wanted to know for a long time. Did they move the audio so that it would fit the timeline?
Because remember, they were telling Ann Taylor they were trying to match the sound with the video.
Yep.
Remember, that's one of the reasons why they didn't have the discovery ready for her on that one particular.
They were having syncing problems. Correct.
Right.
They couldn't sync it up. They said to match.
And then there's that guy, True Crime Forensics. That actually runs the 227.
Yeah.
And you got all the screaming and all the chaos, and he's saying that's actually either the point of the crime or the crime's noise was moved back to that time.
Absolutely makes sense, Sarge. And here's the thing: Christie's Chaos pointed out in 2 of her videos, she was watching it and realized something, that two separate videos at 2 separate times match up identical.
Mhm.
They line up perfectly identical. So you explain to me how that happens when you see the same vehicle turning at the same time, the same way, and 2 separate videos at separate times. There's obvious manipulation there. Okay.
Yeah.
I want to highlight something. I think it was it Senior Wazowski said noble cause corruption. I want to read some of this because noble cause corruption is exactly what we've been trying to say for a long time. But I had ChatGPT define it. What is noble cause corruption? Noble cause corruption is when police officers, prosecutors, or others in the justice system break rules, violate rights, or act unethically because they believe that they're serving the greater good, usually getting a conviction or removing someone that they believe is dangerous. The idea is that the ends justify the means. Right. Instead of following the law and protecting due process, the person convinces themselves that by bending or breaking the rules, it's acceptable because they believe the suspect is guilty and that society will suffer. And then they give examples of cases where noble cause corruptions has led to false convictions and false confessions and wrongful convictions in high profile cases like the Rampart scandal in LAPD, Duke lacrosse prosecutions, a whole bunch of different examples of places where noble cause corruption, where the law enforcement and prosecutors believe they're doing the right thing. They believe that they got the right guy. And so they just make all the evidence fit it because they think it's the right thing to do because we know it's the right guy. We just got to make the evidence fit.
Or so they just use that as an excuse. That could be just an excuse they're using to make it sound good, to make this work legitimately. You know what I mean? That's what we believe, whether it's true or not, just to make it sound right.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing that backs up the evidence that he was even involved. There's nothing. There's no confirmation that the car was his. It's plainly stated that they never found his DNA on the knife sheath. You know, when Othram never found his DNA, and so it was only after that information was passed back to the FBI that they came up with his name. And you all know my theory, so I'm not going to repeat it for the 1,000th time on here, but there's really nothing that shows him. And real quick, I'm going to call back to more of stuff that I know a little bit about, which is forensic psychology. A violent crime like that, I don't want to say never, but if you just look at the statistics, typically does not happen. A stranger just rolls up to a house with, 5 or
No.
6 cars in the parking lot and commits an
No,
extremely violent,
no way.
close
Nope.
up crime that when they have no direct connection to any of the victims. It's
No.
every
no, it
forensic
doesn't.
analyst was saying that in the beginning
Mhm.
before
Yeah.
Koberger was
Yeah.
arrested.
Nor do they leave
Right.
survivors.
And it's
Yeah.
one of the
Right.
big what Turvey explains that one of the biggest flags that he looks for. Sure, you can get when we're talking about not regular crimes but homicides, because obviously strangers get victims of like robberies and stuff all the time. But homicides, he says that is the common flag. Like the wife and home say, "Oh, the perpetrator came through the window and did it." Like it, whenever there's like a narrative of just like a random stranger coming in, it's a high percentage of crime scene staging.
Yeah. And
Absolutely.
I think that's I think that's what happened. I feel like that's what happened in this case. They kind of knew what happened. It couldn't
Oh,
be
yeah.
what happened, and so they said, how are we gonna spin this? And so they kind of rearranged a few things and said, okay, here's what it is. It's one person, and we'll find somebody to pin on it. Like it's freaky to think that they would go to that level. It is freaky to think they'd go to that level, but it feels like there's a financial incentive for days to protect the
Yeah.
university, and to protect, like, again, you don't want to admit you have a rampant drug problem on the campus and with that. If that was now, again, let me clarify this. Like, I feel like there's people who feel it's the ex-boyfriend, it's a jealousy thing because of the Kaylee and the rage thing, and I get it. But the reason why I lean more towards it's more drug related is because a jealous ex-boyfriend doesn't necessarily, again, that's something you can explain away as a university. Hey, look, this doesn't normally happen. It was a person who just had it was a domestic thing. He had a beef with his girlfriend. That's not a systemic problem. But drugs running through your university and drug deals leading to people being murdered
Absolutely.
right under the cop's nose, that is a systemic problem that you don't want to send.
Yeah,
your
but
kids to.
it's not under
And
the
you
top
also-
nose. I mean, that's I said that for years that if Americans knew that the direct targeted market for drug distribution is their children's colleges, Americans wouldn't be sending their kids to college. They knew the truth.
That's right.
Right.
And people need to wake up to that fact.
Yeah.
I mean, come
Yeah.
on, quit acting like colleges are this total safe space.
Look at
because
the
we've all
look at the
seen it.
case.
Ask a lot of college girls how safe those spaces are.
Look at the Gilgio murders where he killed all them people and all the corruption in the police
Yeah.
department.
Yeah.
Let him free for 10 years. Do more killings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And why isn't
Correct,
the wife's hair
correct.
enough to
Good
convict her?
point.
Why is the wife's
Right.
hair in
Good
that
point.
crime not include her in the crime?
Right.
Right?
Yeah. See,
Great
I
points.
find that, yeah.
Yeah, it's all effed up.
That's a whole other thing, but I agree with you on that
Yeah.
too, Sarge.
But also, but back to Jack there, the issue that I have,
You're
the
kind of
whole
breaking up.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
The whole jealous boyfriend, ex-boyfriend thing.
And he's gone.
And then we lose him.
But why couldn't
And
it be
he's
a
gone.
jealous girlfriend? I mean, let's
Sure,
be
it
honest
could be.
here.
And
The
look-
one person that was in that crime scene that admits it, okay, and then plays all these "I don't want to know, I have no idea" games is Dylan. And the idea that
Yeah.
that people don't look at young women or women as potential murderers, or maybe not direct
ridiculous.
assailants, but participants in the crime in a way of setting it up.
Sure.
Right. I also suspect that knife sheath belonged to a victim. It wasn't brought into that home. It was
Yeah.
left behind. It was a weapon that maybe one of those young women were carrying, specifically Kaylee, because she thought she was being stalked.
Yep.
And then the idea that other women or girls couldn't have been involved. They one DoorDash driver said she saw a brunette in the window. Right.
Yeah.
Now that excludes
yeah,
Dylan Mortensen for sure. However, that does show through some, an unbiased observer that was just trying to deliver food. She had no reason to say a dark-haired girl 3 times,
Yeah.
right?
And
Here's the thing with something you just said too, Sarge. Kaylee left, like almost kind of like it looks like in a bit of a rush. She left everything behind. She wasn't moving out, or if she was, she hadn't started. and she had been gone.
Yeah, she left
And
all
I'm-
her shit there. Yeah. Mhm.
everything, including the dog stuff. Okay, so here's the thing, and according to what her mother said, Dylan came out there and talked her into coming back to be her plus one at this thing. Whatever. Okay, fine. And she beat it around for a day or so. She wasn't sure she wanted to do it until she decided to. It makes me wonder: did she possibly bring the knife back with her? For the reason that she may have left, she felt threatened. Sarge brought this up years ago, and we talked about it then, that he believed that it could have belonged to one of the actual victims that they had on them the night because of a thought that they thought they were in danger, maybe. Okay.
Right.
So if they had the knife with them, maybe in bed with them, and somebody comes in or somebody has it, and they go to defend themselves and it's taken from them and used against them. And then the knife she's just left there, the knife is gone because it was the murder weapon. That's not very hard to believe, in my opinion.
Right.
And
Real quick,
we do
Miss
have
Stewie, thank
Turvey
Hold on,
focused
Miss
on the
Stewie,
fact
thank you for
that the
becoming a member.
sheath didn't have a lot of blood on it.
Right.
It had just a few specks
right. No,
of
and he said
blood.
it was planted after the.
Yeah.
Right, and he said it was planted after the murders.
And it
But
was
gave
put
I
on
want
the
to
floor.
what you said though. The jealousy thing, I agree. The jealousy angle was the first thing that makes sense. You should always look at the jealous ex-boyfriend as the very first person, which is why I always said Jack should have been suspect number one. And we kind of, that's okay. The only problem I have is how would the jealous ex-boyfriend, ex-girlfriend, whatever, how would that factor into police cover-up? Why would the police be compelled to help stage a crime scene and coach people through the whole thing if all it was a jealousy issue? That's the problem I have. Like, I can see them covering it up if it's a rampant drug problem or drug hit that happened right under the nose or whatever, but I don't know that I see a path for a police cover-up of a jealousy rage.
Right. Well, that's the problem. Right. I don't see how Jack being all upset would kill 4 people. His anger would be at Kaylee.
No, I don't think Jack was directly. I think what I think you're missing is I don't think Jack physically participated in the murders at all.
Agreed.
No, I don't either.
But I think
agree.
Jack and sorority members laid that murder out like that. See, I think what people seem to forget is that these sororities are known for some horrific things over the centuries.
Right.
These frats are not Boy Scouts.
No, they're not.
They've
That's what I keep trying to
done all kinds of shit: rape, gang rape, murder.
Right.
These frats and pledging and just some sick schemes that they all come up with. And
right.
In that way, you could see the university trying to protect itself.
Which is why the university doesn't want
going wild like this.
Right, which is why universities don't want people to report sexual crimes to the police in that. They want to handle everything internally.
Or anything.
Right, anything.
Yeah.
They don't want it getting out because then people aren't going to send their kids there. And people need to wake the hell up about this.
Yeah.
Right. And I want to reiterate what Sergeant Friday said because I don't say it super often. I'm not saying Jack was involved, but I also am not saying that he couldn't have been involved and that there isn't a scenario that makes sense to me, like I think Sergeant Friday was just saying, in which he could be involved but didn't actually participate in the house. He could have had his ex-girlfriend lured back to the house for other people to have done it for him, and he doesn't mean he has to be. In fact, maybe he established an alibi for himself, knowing damn well what was going to happen, but somebody else carried it out, and that's a possibility.
That's actually more likely.
There's no way Jack could have done it. He's not that kind of guy. Well, there's no one to say that he still wasn't involved, but maybe just didn't physically go there. In
all reality, if you think about it, it would make more sense. It would be the smartest way to do it is to have create the situation and let other people handle it because they can't put it on you then. Okay. And it happens all the time where we've seen that. I don't know how many different times where somebody will hire a murder for hire, guys. It happens all the time. Okay.
Right.
I'm not saying that's what this is. I'm saying it's in that block. Okay.
And also,
if he was there,
and the murder
not there.
The willingness to be manipulated by the two
sorry.
survivors is a big tell. Nothing in that PCA and nothing they presented by statements of these people is accurate. It's the policeman's interpretation of the policeman's story. It's not theirs. That's not Dylan's story that was told in the PCA. Not even close.
No,
that's watching an airplane crash and you're arguing a jogger fell down.
Yeah, right.
It was an airplane crash. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Right?
The reports don't even match what the interview.
Frozen cock days. They slept until noon the next day. She stayed in her bedroom all night and then ran down to Bethany's. That's accurate, but most of the stuff that she told them is nowhere to be found in any of the accusations against Koberger.
No, it was created by law enforcement 100%, in my opinion. I agree.
That narrative should never have been accepted as a probable cause affidavit for arrest. That narrative should have been accepted for warrants to investigate him, get all of his cell phones, to go after all of his data, to go into his apartment, to go into his car. Those warrants should have been issued. Even a grand jury should have been impaneled to review.
Guys,
that's normally what they do in a murder case.
That's the other thing, Sarge. You just threw the two words out there that I think are kind of important. The grand jury. Okay. The grand jury didn't believe her testimony to the point that my understanding is if they could have indicted her, it would have happened. Okay. Because of the way she explained things.
Right.
Okay.
I've been saying that since it started. There's more data against Dylan than there is anybody else.
Exactly.
Verifiable data that comes from her own mouth and behavior. It's not like I'm accusing somebody of something that they could never, but it'd be like me accusing one of you and defame, but I'm not defaming Dylan. She's part of this. She was in the home during the behaviors that went on in there, and her statements are conflicting. Right? Blood on her coat, blood on her apparent blood on her covers, that one blanket. The shoe print, the shoe that made the print was found in the house. Apparently it was hers. I mean, everything they used to hang Koberger with.
The green jacket, right. The green jacket.
Everything they said Koberger did ascribes to her. It fits her because it's true.
That's the whole thing, guys. If you go back through all of the documents, Sarge, and you know this because we've discussed this 1,000,001 times. I want somebody in here, anybody, even a guilter if you can. I want you to show me anywhere in the documents, anywhere, where it points to Brian Koberger for anything.
Yeah, and you're right.
There's nothing there.
And the other question I had was, let's assume for a minute that Dylan Mortensen's statement, well, maybe the killer knew who he was, and that's why she let me live. That was from her own words. Like, why didn't they do anything to you? Well, maybe he recognized, maybe he didn't want to hurt me, kind of thing. So the $1 million question is, if it was Koberger, then show me the connection between Koberger and Dylan. Does Koberger know Dylan? I have found zero.
Nothing.
Zero. The closest I can get, it was she was kind of into psychology, and he also was a psychology major before he switched to criminology. That's as close as I can get to any connection between Koberger and Dylan. So if you're going to say it's Koberger, and then Koberger didn't want to hurt her because he knew her, then what's the connection between Dylan and Koberger? I can't find a single thing connecting the two of them. And neither can the prosecution.
How can you show eyebrows in all of her pictures, and then her using the eyebrows, the cops throwing the eyebrows at her, and then the pictures that show the slashed throat and the shoulders that she has in her room? There's too much evidence showing her involvement, either directly or indirectly, and none showing Koberger's, other than what they want you to believe.
They've created, and they didn't even do it good. They've created every bit of anything that they have, circumstantial or not, whatever you call it, towards him, and none of it lines up or matches. Everything they tried to do fails and falls through the hole every time. Yeah, nothing will stand up. Nothing is solid. It's bullshit.
And Brian didn't know her, but guess who did? Her boyfriend. Who else would protect? I mean, that question has to be asked.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah, Kathy had a video.
But remember, he has an airtight alibi.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Kathy had a video earlier where she said there was witnesses from out of town just before Brian Koberger changed. But am I mistaken in saying that those witnesses were for after conviction, the sentencing stage? They weren't witnesses that were going to testify in the prosecution stage.
I think you're correct. Yes.
Right.
And so those witnesses are basically meaningless. They're like toilet paper that was used.
Yeah.
Right. So if he got convicted,
like the PCA
would have been brought in. Okay. Yeah. Another bullshit. So that would have had nothing to do with him changing his mind. Those witnesses' only impact would be during the sentencing.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you, Lee? Did you or Robin as well? Did you guys get to see the thing that I posted earlier from Steve G commenting?
I was raging about it.
Yeah.
I know, but I was raging about it because I wanted to talk to you before we went live because I didn't want to talk about it in the live without talking to you ahead of time. I totally saw it. I was like, where the hell's one? I want to talk to him about this before I talk about it in the live. What was the time frame? When was that posted? Before, so I'll ask you now. I guess we'll ask you live because I'll show it, but I need to know what video
It
was
was
it posted
recent.
to and how long
It
ago
was
was it posted? Recent?
like a day. It was recently. It was like a day or two ago.
Oh,
It's
really?
It's basically It's basically it's in one of the videos that Pav basically I guess he's no secret. I guess he's not the biggest fan of Christopher Whitcomb and
Right.
Turvey and whatever. He doesn't crush them, but he seems to be going down. He thinks that Turvey is one of the leakers of stuff, and
All right,
and
let me
Steve
put
G
it on.
commented.
Let me put it on. Let me put it on screen. We're going to talk about it. So this was a comment by Steve on pause video. Yes.
Okay, this is new
Yeah.
then because I never saw this.
Yeah.
I was mistakenly. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And the other video, and the other picture.
From you.
Yeah. Sorry. And the other picture I
So,
showed,
hold on.
that's a picture from his thing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know the picture was from pause video. Okay, so I
Right.
want to make sure I got it right. That's why I wanted to talk to you before I did this.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
this from what he's saying, this is Steve Gonzalez replying to a video of Pavarotti's. So let me explain what. Let me read it to you. This is Steve Gonzalez allegedly saying this. I told you all, Ray was finished over a year ago. You, and I'm assuming he means Pavarotti, even attempted to get Ray to comment on what I said. So I'm glad you finally figured this out. Turvey is definitely one of the leakers. There are others. Most of them were not subject to the gag order because they were outside of Idaho's jurisdiction. The gag was never about keeping the jury unbiased. Most people fell for that bullshit. It was about protecting the colleges from losing business. So, unlike most followers of this case, I went on record against it. Now, let me stop and explain what I understood about him saying this. It sounds like Steve Gonzalez is saying the reason why I had problems about the gag order wasn't because I thought the gag order was protecting anything other than the university's culpability and how they're going to lose money on this kind of thing. And so I was like, fuck you guys, universities. Don't gag this shit because you want to protect your money. And I can get that. That's why I said maybe this shows us a little bit motivation of Steve's mindset. He believes the universities are trying to protect themselves for financial reasons. Now, what goes on further is this comment by Steve. There's a long comment here about Brian Koberger, but Steve Gonzalez replies to this and says, Ray has publicly stated that his cellular analysis of BK's data led him to believe Brian Koberger could be placed inside 1122 house. Ray is fully convinced of Brian Koberger's guilt, but he argues that local police were in over their heads, made numerous mistakes in their cellular investigations, mistakes that they refused to correct when the data contradicted their theory. Ray wants to reform the system used in cases like this. In contrast, Dr. Turvey is an egomaniac who cannot get even the basic facts straight. Yet pro-burgers support him simply because they like what he says without understanding that doing so undermines the very foundation of their own case. 99% of them are likely not intelligent enough to grasp the complexities of what that support ultimately costs them and their totality of their position. I'm trying to get to the truth beyond BK's guilt, and they did everything to protect the community. And Pavarotti supposedly responds and says, looks like you were correct. And yes, I remember my failed attempt to get him, I'm assuming Ray, to speak out. So that's why I was asking the context. Is Pavarotti admitting that Ray believes Brian Koberger is 100% guilty? Because again, Dago and I talked about this backstage. The preview of his new book says, at the beginning, when I was brought in, I believed Brian Koberger was guilty. It does not say that he still believes that to this day, but that's what they're implying, that Ray believes Brian Koberger was totally the killer and always has essentially, and that Pavarotti is confirming that I guess you're right. Ray does believe he's guilty, but I don't think that's what that's actually saying. I don't know if that's what that's saying.
His new book that's coming out, the part that is released, like we've spoken about this before. What he says in there, he doesn't, at least in that part that he released, he doesn't say that he thinks that Koberger is guilty. What he says is that the updated info, as the case goes on, you keep getting more and more info, that there is info that whatever MPD got, Idaho State Police got, and they didn't do the proper testing back to like original data that they had, like the comparison data that should be done. They it's like once they had their sights on Koberger, that was it. They didn't do the testing. That is so.
Right.
He did, I mean, and that's just in the part. Now we only saw a little snippet of what I don't know. Maybe he does say more, but in that little part, that's basically what he says, that they didn't
Correct.
do the full testing, and they didn't care about doing the testing.
And I want to clarify one more thing, and I hope it doesn't confuse everybody. It's very technical. The whole cell phone data thing is technical, and I think a lot of people got excited about the idea that Cy Ray is going to blow the shit out of this case because he was going to defend. He was coming out on behalf of the defense, and I said, before you get too excited, Cy Ray's not coming out saying Brian Koberger didn't do it. What he's saying, in my opinion, because I was being careful about what he was saying. What he was saying was, what you presented, what Balance, FBI agent, special agent Balance presented on his slides was bullshit. Because he knows how it works. I know how cell data works. I know how timing advance works. And you couldn't have come to that conclusion unless you had additional data, which you are not showing. That's all he was saying. He wasn't making a conclusion about Brian Koberger's guilt or innocence. He was just saying, I know it's bullshit what you're showing. You're saying you don't have the data, but you had to put together the information you did because I know how it fucking works. I wrote the software. Like I literally wrote the software you're using. And so I know how it works, but you can't pull that shit on me. It didn't necessarily mean he was saying Brian Koberger was innocent. He was just saying, I know you're lying about what you're saying because I know how that shit works. I wrote the software.
The way I understand Cy Ray, I don't think he could conclude and locate Koberger with any certainty. That's the problem.
Right.
You don't have many towers in that area, right? And then you've got
3 towers.
Yeah, and you've got this kid that's being handed off from tower to tower. And I think what Cy Ray would say that that you can interpret it as saying he was there or he wasn't, and you'd both be wrong.
Yes.
Right? I think that's where he comes down.
Yeah.
I don't think he comes down saying, Brian Koberger was in that house at 4:07 a.m.
Right. Well, and then there was further fuckery with that because in the hearing that they had, Hitler said if you're going to include this third tower, then there has to be a Franks hearing.
Right.
So so they basically just made their analysis based on 2 towers. Again, trying to avoid the Franks hearing. But because Hitler, as we know, was the third arm of the state. I don't know why, but he was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
and basically, in layman's... Go ahead.
Oh, well, I was just saying, sorry, you want to do your point first or I'll comment on this first?
No, go ahead.
So Love Tahoe makes a point. Cy Ray told Twiz, I remember Twiz saying, hey, look, I've talked to Cy Ray in private, and Cy Ray says Brian Koberger wasn't even in Moscow that night, and he could prove it. And I thought, well, that's all hearsay. Like, Twiz, that's a conversation between you and Cy Ray if it happened, and I don't know that it happened. But I will say this, I watched Cy Ray on YouTube shout out Twiz and say, hey, Twiz, don't get me in trouble again by talking about shit that I talked about. So I don't know what it was, the context was, but I saw Cy Ray go, hey, Twiz, don't shout me out again. You got me in trouble on that shit.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think in layman's terms, what was being says basically what you said was that Cy was going to come out and say, listen, you can't make that statement that he was there because I know for a fact that what you just did does not prove that, period. So in turn, it would have said, that's not true. 100%.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that fully. There was a statement made about the tower handoff and so on and so forth about this. And yes, there was a conversation with Twiz more than once where it came out. And yeah, Twiz has yelled for years now. Brian was in Lewiston. He was nowhere near Moscow, so on and so forth. So that's where all that comes from. And it one day maybe we'll see that. You know what I mean? But at this point, it's not even about Brian, to be honest with you guys. It hasn't been for a long time. It's about the absolute bullshit that they did in this case, and things like that right there. Them lying about how they know Brian was there when they know it was not true. Them telling the stories they've told to prove the points to get their case that none of them were true. The Amazon bullshit, the knife sheath bullshit, the knife that they have. Go ahead.
And I think, sorry, I think the comment that Steve Gonzalez, assuming that really was Steve Gonzalez on Pavarotti's video, his first sentence in the second reply that I read says it all. What ckery said was, you could possibly prove that Koberger was in the house, but you also could prove that he wasn't there. Like he's not really making a statement.
Right.
One way, and Steve Gonzalez saying, I'm convinced that ckery believes Koberger is guilty. Great. That might be your opinion.
That's your opinion.
And maybe he did have a private conversation with ckery. But the point being is all ckery said was the part where he says, you could use that data to try to place Koberger at the house, but it also might prove that he wasn't at the house.
Right.
So I think he was kind of ambivalent about it. Like what I can say is you can use that data any way you want to say he was or he wasn't there. So because of that, it's not definitive either direction.
Yeah.
If you can use it to say he was or wasn't there, then it's useless information.
What you could use it for exactly is to show that the vehicle they tracked going from WSU to Pullman was 100% not Brian Koberger's car. 100% provable, because Brian Koberger's car continued on that network for 7 minutes longer than what the police claimed.
That's true.
And you could track the movement of his vehicle going south.
Yeah.
Therefore, any images that here's the real catch-22 to this. Any images that you then compare to that vehicle are exculpatory to Brian. Every single image that you present to the public, that you present in a warrant, that you presented to if you went to trial, is non-usable because you're tracking the wrong car. You follow me? If you're saying the car that left Pullman is Brian's, and now you got all these blurry images, and you're saying suspect vehicle 1 resembles all of these images, I agree with you. But we provably know that can't be Brian, because when that car left Pullman, Brian left too, and Brian went a different direction.
Yep.
That's provable.
And Taylor knew it.
Right?
Yeah, and Ann Taylor knew it, and Ann Taylor argued that the 7-minute gap made a difference. She said 7 minutes.
7 minutes are very important.
Lied about 7 minutes in time. It's very important. And they
Well,
lied
it's
about
also-
and their counter was,
It's not even important. The 7 minutes
Wrong,
only
wrong,
matters
wrong.
because the car that they did track could not be Brian.
Right.
That's the
Right.
point. There's no other argument to be made. The car you're tracking is arguably, provably, absolutely not Koberger. It's another white sedan.
right.
To me, one of the biggest things that refutes the Brian Koberger theory is, if, let's just say, to your theory earlier, Lee, the noble corruption or whatever, they wouldn't need to lie about everything in the very beginning and cover up so many pieces of information, right, to insert or frame a guy, right? They wouldn't need to do all of that, right? It was, so the 4 hours that they were in there, that who was it? Payne and Fry?
No, they
Well,
Payne and Thompson
Noon-
and
Noon-
Jennings.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that time period, it seems pretty clear that they were creating a narrative that was not what actually happened, right? So
Right.
the Brian Koberger, him fitting into it, again, I'm not going to go into what my theory is anymore, but you have all heard it a million times about Brian Koberger. But even if you want to say, well, they had enough evidence that Koberger did it, so they couldn't prove all of it. They wouldn't have to lie about or put so much other bogus information out to make that fit. There was a lot of other things about that case from right from the get-go that don't make sense. So there's too many different things that don't add up, for it to be like, oh, it's noble corruption. There's just too many other things.
Along that lines, I think what happens is, it's the phrase I used before: in for a penny, in for a pound. Once they decided they were going with a certain scenario, and then they started to fit the data into it, then when stuff started to come out that they might have been wrong, like the fog lights and the car and the suspect vehicle 1 might not be the same thing, they were in for a penny, in for a pound. They already said it's Koberger. So when the stuff started to show that it might not be, they took every step they could to hide that from the public and protect it, because they were committed. Like, we already said it was him. We can't be wrong about all this shit. So they made some sloppy guesses and like, oh, this is suspect vehicle 1 and this is suspect vehicle. It looks the same to me. And then someone else comes along and says, well, that fucking car has fog lights. That can't possibly be the car. And they're like, well, shit, we got to block that for the public. And now we got to block this from the public. And they had already
They lied about
to a certain
massive
path,
things.
and then they had to
Massive
cover
things.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, okay, yeah, and then the car. That's a massive thing. They lied about that, and then you got the judge throwing that back in their faces. Okay, great. Then you have Jennings, who blatantly lied about having the data. Okay, there's bullshit. The AT&T data, she lied. Everybody knows she had it. Okay, because if you have Maddie's and you have Xana's, you have Brian's. End of story. That whole thing is a bunch of bullshit. And the judge sat there and said, "Oh, okay," and accepted it. He knew she had it. Okay, all of those things right there, in a sense, they went beyond, above and beyond, to lie about these things to ensure that that narrative stayed what it was. Period. They all need to be sitting behind bars, in my fucking opinion. Period. It's disgusting, and how they've gotten away with it makes no sense to me. I don't get any of it.
Well, that's why I tend to lean towards that it was a much larger thing involved, because we know that there were multi agencies involved in that area previous to the crime. So they clearly knew things were going on in that area, and they didn't want the extent of it to get out to the public, because that would crush things for the school, right? If it came back that there was something that was a more bigger scale type of thing that happened that was the cause of this, and that the school and law enforcement may have had a CI program within the sorority and fraternity, Greek life community there, then that would be major blowback for the university and for law enforcement. So I think that all the things that came after that, when they realized what it actually was that had happened, and I believe that they knew early on, I think then what they did was they had to take critical action. And I still believe that Kohberger was involved with some of that research stuff that was going on through WSU, through the NIJ funding. He may have already been involved in that. That's what grad students do. They work on these research programs.
Can I ask a question? Didn't Brian do that research program before he came to Washington State?
I don't know if he was involved in that before, but it's possible that part of him going to that school was to work on that. Because when you're a PhD candidate, you're also a researcher for the university.
I understand that. I'm not sure if you understood my question, and that he put that Reddit survey out, but did he not do that when he was in Pennsylvania?
Right, but that was
he did. The Reddit
he
survey
was
was
studying
Pennsylvania,
criminology. I don't
Here's
know.
something I want to supply. I want to make this suggestion, and I know a lot of people aren't going to like it. I don't exclude Kohberger from being involved. I don't include, nor do I exclude. Just like Dylan and the others, I don't know they did it, but I can't see that they didn't do it. A little different with Brian, but is it possible that Brian followed people that committed crimes, knowing that they were going to go commit crimes, to observe firsthand what may be or their before, during, and after actions, right? And that, in other words, you could find a role for Brian in this crime. You could find a role for Brian in the Pennsylvania crime. You see? So, and then you want to tie it to this, the tester, that those questionnaires. You could actually weave that together and make it make sense, like I just did, right? There's no truth to what I just said, as far as I know. But what I want to say is that Brian, there's a trillion ways he could have been involved, and the only way he could not have been involved is what the police have laid out. Their story doesn't work. But not to say Brian didn't have any involvement. Maybe with the cleanup, maybe with dropping people off, maybe with, I mean, the maybes can be infinite. But the idea that he physically went in that house and did what they claimed doesn't seem like there's any likelihood to support that at all, right? The crime is just too big for someone like Kohberger to go in and do all of that, wipe everything down, clean all the floors, leave tracks going in different directions. One set of tracks goes in one way, to another goes another. Another went down the front steps. There's 3 people right there, right? So my point is the argument the police and the state make is the most ridiculous. It's like you gave this puzzle to a 1-year-old and it's a 10,000 piece puzzle. You're never going to get it solved.
Yeah.
And they just fit the pieces where they wanted them to fit to accuse this kid. But I still say that it's kind of premature to suggest he had nothing to do with this. And I'm not saying that he did because of the DNA or because of anything other than the fact that you really don't know. Only he knows. He's the only one that'll ever know whether he
Yeah.
had any involvement at all, whether he had any connection to the killers that did the killing, didn't have, right? I don't even know, man. But his test that he gave, it did dawn on me that test and the fact that his parents were brought to a grand jury and the fact that this crime and Koberger's in the general area, both of these crimes, you connected to that questionnaire that he put out there. Is it possible if he was at, and then you hear the people in jail saying, Brian always wanted to know everything about you and what you're doing and what you're thinking and why. Right? He had
go ahead. Yeah, I agree with you, and I've said the same thing. I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm not saying that there isn't a possibility or a scenario in which Koberger could have been involved. I think a telling thing that Koberger said early on was, "I'm not capable of doing something like this," but that doesn't mean that others that he knew did it, or that he was watching others that did it, or whatever, and that he, and I've even indicated if somebody knew him personally and was going to do it and said, hey, you're a criminology expert. If you were going to commit a murder and get away with it, what would you do? Maybe he could have been peripherally on the outside of something like that and said, well, if I were doing it, I would do this. But he may not personally be the kind of person capable of doing that. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't somehow connected to somebody that did, or advised somebody that did, or gave somebody a tip. And then was, fuck, I'm wrapped into this now. And maybe they knew. Same thing with law enforcement. Maybe law enforcement knew he had some outside connection, and they figured, well, we know that he's involved somehow, so we're just going to make it fit so that he's the guy, because we know he's involved somehow. That we're just going to make the dots fit because we know he's there somehow. Right. So I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
I don't know. Crazy shit.
Everything. I'm crazy too. That's how I came up with that concept.
What happened to half of our panel? We lost 1-1. Robin's muted. Dago's muted. It's just JJI and Sergeant Friday. Just the three of us hanging out now all of a sudden.
I think some of them
got quiet
off
too.
Wireless connections to their neighbors or something.
Maybe.
Internet.
The conversation's been great, and I think there's a lot of unanswered questions. This case continues to just be a shit sandwich. I just feel like there's no way it happened the way that they said it did, and yet it seems that that's just the way that they want everybody to live with it. And I don't know. Will we see any truth to what happened? If there was other people that were involved, as I certainly think there are other people, will they ever be brought to justice, or will they just forever walk? I don't know. This case is driving me insane.
Robin's dog is having a seizure, poor thing.
Is it?
How do you know that? Cat. Yeah, and then Dago said, "Be right back."
Oh shit! Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, this to me this is a great example of how we've all been trained to divide ourselves up, and so some people will believe he's guilty for no other reason than he was accused. So there's a lot of people running around saying that Bigfoot exists, but there's no evidence of that. Same thing with all these UFO files. There's no evidence of alien interaction on our planet. The most logical explanation of what you're seeing is likely government created craft. And the idea that they can't turn and drive like that is nonsense, because we've got drones that do exactly that. So, I mean, there's more evidence to support man-made, more of that by truckloads than there is any evidence whatsoever that proves people from different galaxies or different solar systems are here. And yet people still believe UFOs exist. People still believe Bigfoot exists. People believe the Loch Ness Monster exists. And that's how we've been corrupted as a society when it comes to thinking, because thinking requires fact and evidence, verifiable, repeatable. And people aren't taught to deal with information that way. They think the information in the Brian Koberger case is to be believed, one side or the other.
Yeah.
And that's just sad, because that's not what you're supposed to do. Right? The evidence has to tell a story. And that's, that Turvey says that, and so does the Whitman say that. Evidence of a 12-pack of beer set over bloodstains tells a story. All by itself, right? That beer was moved. Why? Why would a guy that's just killed all these people, why would he take the time to move a 12-pack of beer? Or did the police move it unintentionally? But that needs to be thrashed out. All of these bloodstains diluted. Why only on the second floor where the course of travel was to the exits, one exit or another, right? These things tell a story, and they're facts. They're not up for debate. They're registered, research, scientifically validated, diluted blood. And that fact has an answer. How did it get diluted? What was it diluted with? And who was the most likely person to do the diluting? Right. And when you take that line of reasoning, the surviving victims in the home is your first answer. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And yet we're not. So many people don't think; they just believe. And no matter what you say, you could say all his blood's diluted, none of it's Kohlberger's, and the person that believes he did it, that none of that even registers in their brain. They don't want to think it through. It's to the complexity of what that really means to this crime. And that's what makes, people with differing opinions, usually it's differing beliefs. And it's kind of like, a Christian trying to convince a Muslim to change religions. It's a ridiculous conversation. Don't engage in it. But people do. And that's where we get our arguments, over belief, not overthinking.
Yeah.
Good point. Very good stuff. Are you? One's gone. Okay.
I'm gonna jump down. I'm so so I can have some pie and ice cream late at night. Apple pie and ice cream.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us tonight. It's been great kickoff.
Always. Yeah. When are you going to join me, Sarge? I haven't seen you over here in a long time.
I thought I was on your channel. I don't know whose channel I'm on. I can't read.
This is you're on that. We're both channels. We do this at night, but during the day you're going to have to join us during the day one day.
Keep an eye on Robin. She said her dog is having a hard time. That's going to affect her for sure.
I know. We're watching to get an update on that. Thank you so.
But thanks, Sarge. Appreciate you again as always.
Be good, everybody.
See you soon, sir.
See you. Take care, man.
Always interesting conversation with him. Is Robin okay with the dog?
She's I'm not sure yet. By the way, when you came back, Dago, you've got a little bit of delay from your audio and your videos. Got a delay on it now. So
hang on a minute. Bear with me. I might fall out.
It's not delaying for me right now, but what I was going to say is the whole, Kohlberger may have peripherally been involved. To me, it's unlikely. I think that something went down that was a major event that would have tarnished the school, would have affected the enrollment in the school, which is big money. And because it could have been directly related to a program that was being done with CIs in the house, and that house being used for that, they needed to cover it up, and they need to have a one person, somebody that they could pin it on. And that and all the other things that we've seen along the way is what, to me, still has me convinced that Kohlberger was brought in by law enforcement on some level, and he was a witting patsy. And everything that we've heard, and nothing has changed my mind on that. So I guess you could say, yeah, he is involved peripherally, but he's involved after the fact.
Right. Is that better, Lee? Do I match up yet?
Yes, it is. It's me. I right after someone said you were fine for them, and JJ started talking, and he has a delay for me too. So I'm the one that needs to exit the studio back because it's me.
No problem.
Robin, it's not you, it's me.
Is the dog doing okay, Robin?
Yeah, she's okay now. It's just when that's going on, I have to monitor her because when dogs are having seizures, they can go hyperthermic.
Yes.
So I have to monitor while that's happening, unfortunately.
Thank you. Our buddy Oscar, we had for 18 years. He used to have that, and we had to watch every time. He had him bad towards the end, and every time it was so sad. He would just roll out completely and lock out, completely locked down. So yeah, we had to watch him, and we had to pull him out of him sometimes because he would get locked up, if you know what I mean. And it's a sad thing to watch. It really is.
Yeah.
So did you guys see the Lakeland interview? Or I should say hear the interview.
Yeah.
See it.
The newer, or is there a newer one?
I don't know. There's so many people I think it's, I don't know. People were talking about it this week. So I don't know.
Maybe there's
if it's
a new
brand
one
new, but one of the things that I noticed in that interview. So Lakeland, so she says how she was good friends with, I guess, from everyone in the house, she was closer friends with Dylan than anyone
Right.
else. But what's interesting is that they were asked, how often do you go to the house, 1122? And she said, like, probably like once a week. And she's like, oh, but we wouldn't. She said maybe only once or twice they watched like a movie or something. She's like, when I went there, it was to party. It was,
Yeah. Okay.
she was pretty much affirming that the house, that
The party house.
I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with partying. I'm just, saying that's what she went there for. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the custody queens, I know they popped up in my feed, and they had those. They did a couple.
Yeah, they
of
were
lives.
covering it. Yeah, they covered it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it really seems, one of the things that strikes me about all the interviews is how blasé everybody is about a quadruple homicide. They don't
Yes.
act
Yes.
like
Thank you.
there's any trauma or anything.
Yeah.
Like, these are people they were,
You're right, JJ.
they knew, and in some cases people they were close to. And there just doesn't seem like, even saying like, oh man, I still can't
Right.
believe this happened, or anything like that.
Yeah.
And I
And it
could
was
see,
only
I
like a
agree with
week
that.
later. Yeah.
Well,
it was,
and that's the funny thing. Whether it's a week,
yes.
a
Right.
month, 3 months later, or the day of, it's the same reaction. They all are just like,
Yeah.
they almost sound like entertained in some aspects, the way they're talking and laughing at some point. Some of them, it's just wild. I've never seen people
And the
act this way.
the Jack interview is like so ridiculously redacted.
Oh, of course,
It's unbelievable.
of course.
Which
Well, that would've-
Jack?
Jack the
D. Jack D.
Yeah.
There's a new interview out that's 2 hours and 27 minutes, and probably an hour of it is all redacted stuff.
It's probably, I was gonna say, it's more than half of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is, to me, again, it's just another factor that shows that there is coordination happening, and
Yeah.
things that they don't want the public to know.
Oh, definitely. JJ, I mean, I didn't realize. I guess I think maybe Lee had seen it. I didn't realize that. So this EWU,
Oh yeah,
however you
the
say it,
EWE,
EWU thing that we had on this past Monday about trying to get all this different information out, that requests that they have had. So one of the big things brought up in this whole, in that whatever it was, it looked like a team. It looked like a Teams meeting, but whatever event that was, the judge made this whole big, Marshall had this whole big, discussion, and this whole big thing saying how, well, now she had her decision, but now after the arguments made, she's which there was basically horseshit of arguments. There was no real arguments, but her big thing was that, well, I really need like a list of stuff to, it can't be like a blanketed statement. But apparently, so Lana covered the whole thing too after the show, and she has the actual document that was filed, and everything is listed. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about, that they need to make an index. There is a list, and there's a list that says all the stuff of why they're not, giving it. Maybe there's a few things in that. I think it was item I as part of the exhibits that they had. But the big thing was the judge was like, "Oh, I need an actual list." They have a list. The list is there. It's like, did you read? She opened the hearing by saying that she spent a lot of time reviewing. I think the whole document itself was something like 45 pages or whatever, something like that. She said, I spent all this time reviewing it. Well, what were you sleeping when you reviewed it? Because the list is there. It says, and it's very specific too. It says like
You're muted, DA.
It says like on such date,
Wow.
on such, this interview. It's very, very specific. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about.
Yeah, I was just ranting, but apparently had my mic muted. That I said the same thing at the time. I said she specifically said the August 25th letter, the September 15th letter, and I'm like, then the judge says, "Well, I need to itemize what you were asking for." It's in the fucking letters that we just told you looked at. Like, why does the whole thing was a stall tactic? That's all it was. She had
absolutely.
There was no excuse to say come up with a log. They already had the two letters. She said it was in this letter and this letter, which obviously the judge had. So that whole thing was a sham, in my opinion. The whole let's put together a list of what you were asking for. You have.
But I don't know why.
Yeah,
but I don't know why the lawyer. Right, yeah. But I don't know why she didn't say that though. I don't know why the lawyer. Not to like
because I think because she was purposely stalling.
No, but I mean the lawyer for EWU. I don't know why. Like the lawyer for EWU. I don't know why she didn't just at least just kind of like double down. Like double down a bit. Like judge. The list is there. No the list is all there.
Yeah. That's what bothered me too. Why didn't she say something?
It just seems absolutely more dog and pony show.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole thing was that whole hearing was useless. Absolutely useless.
Amanda sent me the actual with the exhibits. I was looking, I think.
What, the I?
I was going to pull I. I think,
it's all
exhibit I.
It's all and their reason for most of the stuff that they didn't release, they gave a reason. There's a few things in there that they didn't, but
anyways, crazy shit.
And then her stupid reason too. Her idiotic reason there. Oh well, I think they should have. We need some time to review, and then that intermediary guy for the Chapins, he's like that. We shouldn't rush to judgment. We should get it right.
I think the whole thing was stalled out on purpose. Truly,
yeah, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Without a doubt, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
Part of the old boys network.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean they have to make it look like they're making a good faith effort.
Absolutely.
But they're clearly not anywhere in this case.
No.
As Eddie would say, it's all theater.
Well, I mean, it's funny, JJ, because during that hearing, the judge actually made a knock at the lawyer for Idaho there. She's like, well, you should be ready to go today. Like, the argument. The argument that they basically gave was that you're not from Idaho, which is like, what kind of bullshit nonsense. There have been numerous people who have FOIA documents that are not from Idaho, so I don't know what the hell they're talking about. It's in their own rules. Like the only thing is, if you're from Idaho, they're supposed to answer you, I think, within 3 days or something. If you're out of Idaho, there's a longer time. But it doesn't say that you can't get any records because you're not in Idaho. Like ludicrous.
Fuckery.
Yeah. I just don't understand why people don't. I just don't get why the lawyer for EWU didn't challenge more. That's what I don't understand.
That's what I don't understand either.
Right. I get the other people. I get the judge, the lawyer, the intermediary for Chapin, all the other lawyers there. I get it. They're all playing like a game. But the lawyer for EWU, I don't understand. Like, well, judge, we have the list is there. I don't understand why do they no. And then she says, oh, I think they need. Maybe a few weeks will be good. Yeah. Okay. Well, right now we're in the middle of May. How does a few weeks take you to?
August? Let's talk about August something. Yeah.
They're waiting.
Yeah.
They're waiting out that law, is what they're doing.
Yeah, it's July
They want
1st.
the law to take effect. on
It's
July
obvious.
1st, yeah.
Right.
It goes into effect July 1st. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's more just bullshit corrupted.
But there's a ton of stuff. In there that they're requesting that has nothing to do with crime scene photos. There is some
yeah.
that are crime scene
Yeah.
photos, yes, but there's a ton that's not.
Right. Yeah, and the judge wanted an itemized log, and it's clearly there. It's in the exhibit.
right
that
there
we just-
within it,
I
yeah.
was just looking it over. It's very
And one of
detailed.
the-
They get, and they've
right.
even got responses. So
And even one of the biggest things that they're asking is for all the stuff most of the stuff that they specifically list that's been previously released, where they give what it is, what interview or what, that all the shit is redacted and it's in violation of the actual judge's order. This stuff
Yep.
should not be redacted like this.
One absolute. I fully agree.
And if it is redacted, they need to say why it's redacted.
Yeah, what's the reason why it's being redacted? 100%. The redactions are ridiculous, and I'm just over all of it. The entire,
yeah.
every bit of this shit is redacted anymore.
I mean, how are they releasing stuff now that has like we're watching interviews where someone will make reference to Dylan or something and they redact it. Like we know who they're talking about, but
Yeah.
they
Right.
redact Dylan's name. Like why? What?
they redacted nouns and verbs in this shit. It's ridiculous. Okay, I've seen
Yeah.
them redact words like he and they and shit and piss. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's
They're
bullshit. It's-
redacting the fraternity names.
Right. It's insane. The whole thing, so much for, freedom of speech and all the other shit that they have out there. It just
Yeah,
doesn't.
transparency.
They've used, thank you. Truth and transparency are a joke. They have completely and totally shit on the Constitution so many times now. It's just, I'm done. Sick of it. It's enough.
I agree.
all right, real quick. I did have a question. So we're approaching the 2-hour mark, and yes, like my wife says, I do not need to absolutely cut the show off at exactly 2 hours. And what do I care if somebody wants? I get it. So we don't have to cut off right now, but I did want to make sure we get this out. Somebody asked me what my plans are for CrimeCon. So we are days away. My wife and I are days away for leaving for CrimeCon. So tomorrow, Saturday night, we should have a regular show. Sunday night, we've been taking off lately, so we don't have the regular Crimes After Dark on Sunday. That's been canceled for a while until we kind of get back into a rhythm. So we got tomorrow night's show. We got Sunday night off. We got Monday, which I'm planning on doing. But at that point, Tuesday through Tuesday of the week following, I have no idea what my availability is going to be. We are going to CrimeCon. We're traveling on Tuesday. We're going to be there on Wednesday. CrimeCon kind of starts the evening of Thursday / in through Sunday. And my wife wants me to earn my money's worth on the tickets that we bought, which means they start at like 9:00 in the morning and they go to like 9:00 at night. And she wants us there the entire time. I don't have the energy for that, but she does apparently. And so how we're going to handle live streaming, I don't know. I do want to at least sign in. So I'm hoping my team will run the Crimes After Dark show without me. And then I can sign
Absolutely.
in maybe from walking the floor of CrimeCon with my cell phone and say, hey guys, I'm here on the floor and we got a session coming up, and give you an update, let you see what it looks like, what the atmosphere is like, give you an update. I might do that kind of thing. Or if it just happens to be a session that kind of sucks in the evening, we'll go back to the hotel and stream live. So I don't know what the schedule is going to look like. I'm up in the air for the next week. So I hope you guys will support the show. Please help support the show and keep the Crimes After Dark show going, whether I'm here or not. I would hope that you would do that. But if not, I get it. But I will try to make as many appearances as I can during the week. And I will try to give regular updates on the Crimes After Dark. I really want to do, I know Dago's got a point, but he's muted, by the way. I really want to do some members only content for some extra bonus content for Crimes After Dark, for the CrimeCon, I mean. So I'll try to do that as well. Go ahead, Dago. What'd you have?
Oh, I was just gonna say if you can hear me, Rhonda, just at the hotel there should have where you can rent, or they'll just let you use a wheelchair, and just throw Lee in a wheelchair and push him around the place all day. He'll have his energy. Don't worry about his energy. He can sleep, whatever. You can do everything and just keep pushing him around. It is what it is.
Wow. Dago,
Wow.
he might be a feature on one of
Right.
those shows.
Yeah,
He
there
doesn't
you
know
go.
it.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, I very well could be a feature. Yeah.
Absolutely. There you go. That's all I was gonna say. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah. So CrimeCon could be interesting. We'll see how it goes. You know, as most of you know, Authorum Labs is going to be featured front and center at CrimeCon. They're going to have an exhibit hall where Authorum Labs will probably have, like they did last year, the biggest exhibit on the floor of the exhibit hall. The Gonzalez's will be taking the stage with several others to talk about the true crime community and how we all suck ass and shame victims' families and talk out of our ass without knowing what we're talking about. That's going to be a major feature that they're going to get up there specifically to talk about YouTubers in the true crime community. So that'll be fun. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out.
They're going to talk about their foundation thing too, I'm sure.
Yeah, of course they're going to promote the foundation. Absolutely, going to promote the foundation as well. Of course. Yep.
I'm curious.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Maybe you could go to lunch with Brian. Brian Edmonds going to be there, right?
Gonzalez is this year.
Yeah, right.
Brian Edmonds going to be there, right? Yeah, you could go to lunch with him. And...
Yeah, well, you might have to carry him, but you know.
Yeah, you might have to give him some
he didn't acknowledge me last year. I doubt he's going to acknowledge me this year.
Slip some ghost pepper on his sandwich.
Murder has a name. That's the Gonzalez's new foundation. Yep.
Yeah, it's called Moscow.
And again, I say it a million times. I know they're not going to do it, but I really honestly would welcome the opportunity to have a closed door conversation with Steve and Christy Gonzalez. I would be fine with having a closed door conversation with them.
Good luck.
But it's not going to happen, I'm sure. Yeah, not going to happen. I get it.
If you can get it.
And I'm not going to ask for it, but yeah.
Yeah, right. That would be if they would speak with anybody that is in the pocket of the state of Idaho and the city of Moscow, it'd be amazing. But you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Although you know, it was funny. We were looking at the dress code for CrimeCon, and I was planning on wearing my Devil's Advocates jersey and my Devil's Advocates hat and promoting my channel while I'm there. And one of the comments they said was, "What is the dress?" There was a FAQ. What is the dress code for CrimeCon? And they said it's kind of casual, respectful, casual. And they said, consider this: families of victims will be at this event. How would you feel if you're sitting in an elevator with one of the families of the victims of a crime? And I'm like, well, shit. I don't know that they would like me to have my Devil's Advocates outfit on.
Right.
Sitting in an elevator with Steve or Christy Gonzalez. So, but I don't know. It doesn't mean that they will tell me not to wear my YouTube channel stuff. But yeah, I was like, that was one of those kind of sobering thoughts. Like, how would I feel? How would they feel if I was locked in an elevator with them having to share an elevator to the top floor or something like that? But anyways, it is what it is. That could happen, and they know who I am, whether I have my outfit on or not, or I have my merchandise on or not. So.
Yeah, maybe they wouldn't like if you wear your Bryn Turvey hat.
Yeah. Oh Lord, it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
I know there'll be a few channels that'll have it live, so that'll be interesting to see too.
Now, what do you mean by having it live? Having CrimeCon live?
Yeah, they do it every year. There's a couple channels out there that are there. That will stream it live as they walk around and look at different booths. And
I was gonna say, I don't think they allow you to record inside the ballrooms when the conversations are going, but I guess the floor and
the floor, not the
the
other.
Yeah.
Well, some people have though. I've seen. Was it last year? Or the year before? Some couple, I can't remember, but somebody was. Obviously, they turned their phone on and kind of hit it, and they recorded the whatever was going on situation. So yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying it's happening.
Kick you out if you did that. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if JLR goes this year. That's another thing. And somebody mentioned his name with all the bullshit going on with him. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, and somebody said they do have a thing called Creator Row.
Right.
I almost grabbed a booth for Creator Row, or tried to sign up for one. I was trying to do it with Birdie Bombshells and have us both share a booth on Creator Row, but he backed out, I think, of going to CrimeCon. So as far as I know, Birdie's not going to CrimeCon. In fact, I don't think anybody has committed. I've asked so many people, I don't think a single person is committed to CrimeCon. So I don't think anybody's going but us.
Well,
it's so expensive in Vegas. I don't know if it would be cheaper.
It is
anywhere,
very expensive.
That's what killed us with it. We wanted to go, but the price of everything, just
Yeah, it's,
even sharing a place with you would have saved, but with everything else, it's like Jesus Christ, it's insane for how expensive it is.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, Microdot. I was at last year's CrimeCon, so I'm pretty familiar with the environment. Yeah.
But Microdot, you didn't hear that Lee will be presenting. He just
Yeah.
he just doesn't know it yet.
AR Hayes is going. I don't know if
AR lives there.
I don't know if you want to confirm. I know. I was gonna say. I know he lives there. Is he going to CrimeCon or is he just there because he lives there? Because he did talk about. But here's the thing with AR. I don't know where I stand with AR Hayes anymore. So I've shared the screen with him. I've been on the screen with him several times. And the last couple of times I heard AR talking about it, seemed like he was kind of crapping on me and my show, but I don't know if he was or not. So I'm not sure if the offer still stands to meet AR Hayes.
Well,
I wouldn't mind meeting him at all. But I think he kind of maybe has a
yeah.
change of heart about my channel. I'm not sure. So
he kind of crapped on all of you that interviewed Christopher Wickham. So
right, because we're all. I feel like the message was everybody's idiots if they interviewed Christopher Wickham because you guys don't realize he played you all. So that always gets to my personal thing. So you're saying I'm stupid. I can't figure out when I'm being played. So that there's that. But hey, look, I'm still not upset about it. So I'm willing to meet with him if he wants to meet. But I don't.
Rui
know
said he made threats. What kind of threats did he make?
He didn't.
Who? AR Hayes?
No,
that's what Rui Manu said. He made threats. I didn't see any of that.
I watched the video where he was going over the book, but he was basically it's just what Lee just said. He was basically saying that all of you guys are just falling prey to what he wants, being played.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing.
And then he kind of, but then he also he threw some, and he's like, oh, these guys are making, some of them are making a ton of money and whatever, and he's like, good for them, and so it almost sounded like a little jealous.
And
I
like to see who that is.
Just to say, I know, I don't know what he means by making ton of money, but
yeah,
well, it ain't none of us because I know I sure as hell ain't.
I'm making tons of money.
Well, here's the thing. Even if
you're different,
even if Whitcomb was getting people, whatever it's whatever he's referring to by that, so what? We're still interviewing him, or anybody that's interviewing him is interviewing him. That doesn't mean you have to believe what he's saying. Okay, you just take it under consideration and think on it. That's all I'm saying. Like
overall,
it wouldn't matter.
Good. Yeah, he still brought up
100%.
He still brought to light some new information that we did not know. So,
and there's a bunch of people that I would interview that I don't believe what they're going to say. 100%. I've done it in the past. So that doesn't mean anything to me as far as whether they're telling the truth or not telling the truth. You still want to interview certain people because of what they're going to say and how it's going to present. So that means nothing to me in that part of that. So that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah, exactly. What do you guys have? You guys any last comments, questions, concerns before we wrap it up for the night? Wrap it up. Anything that you guys want to ask before we head out as a group?
Not that I can think of.
And your dog's fine,
Thank you to all the mods.
I know how your dog's doing.
Yeah, she's doing okay now. She's doing okay.
A good conversation.
Her ice cream. Yeah, excellent conversation. So, but we haven't done this for a little while, but I want to shout out to all the mods, both channels. Thank you guys very much for everything that you do with keeping the chats going, and we appreciate it very much. So we haven't thanked them for a little while, and I wanted to do that. So
yeah,
always.
They're the unsung heroes that I also don't seem to celebrate enough. But thank you for the mods. You guys do a great job, and to keep our chat is relatively clean, and you bounce people when they're out of line, and you don't bounce them too early as I've asked you to do. So it's fantastic what you guys do.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
We would not exist without you guys, period.
Yeah, the mods rock.
Yep.
All right.
No,
another question.
And Amanda is you'd be number one on my list for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. You'd be my
we'd be phoning Amanda.
Yeah.
Brandy J gives me an opportunity to shout out my alternative channel. I am I'm doing an alternative channel for all those things. Sergeant Friday says, look, you've got to be a moron if you believe aliens have any possibility of being real, blah, 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 and all that. And like, that's what we talk about at the Beyond channel.
Amazing.
So if you want to see what an idiot I really am, go check out my Beyond the Devil's Advocates Beyond and look at what kind of a moron I am for suggesting that. And that's okay. I have no beef with Sergeant
DA's
Friday.
never inviting me on
So-
that show.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see about that.
So,
So thank you so much
JJ,
for
are you gonna cover anything with Tesla at all, or
Going forward, there's probably
I know
a
there's
lot
so
of
many
different
things.
topics
Yeah,
that I might
yeah.
dig into. For the time being, and for like probably a little bit, I'm gonna be first doing overviews and then doing more specific things that all relate to the power structure, and then it's going to zero in more on relevant things that are happening today. I do talk about that already, like what's happening in the world right now. It depends. Like if I think I can connect it, like Tesla's definitely one I could connect to the big time fuckery that goes on. So,
I will tell you there's some
big business.
I will tell you there's some topics on the Beyond channel, my alternate channel, that I wanted to talk to with you and or others on the panel, because we've talked about it on this group, but I don't want to do it here. And that is the Las Vegas shooting, which I would love to have you at least, JJ, if I can, but I know you and Bertie were going to work something out. So if you guys are still don't want to do that, I don't want to steal that thunder. But if you guys aren't going to do it, I'd love to have you and I discuss the Las Vegas shooting. All of us, and maybe others, if there's anybody here like Dago that's interested in the Vegas shooting, the Philadelphia experiment, which people have talked about a lot.
Boy.
We get a lot of questions about the Philadelphia. I would love to talk. I'd love on the alternate channel to discuss those
I've
two,
been
the
at-
Philadelphia
yeah.
experience and the Vegas shooting.
Yeah, I'll be doing. I've covered it before, the Philadelphia thing experiment, and I'll be going back to that again. I love that topic. I get so wrapped up in it. It's crazy. So yeah, that's a big one, Lee. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk to Bertie. I haven't talked to him in a while to see about doing that. Last that I spoke with him, he was like, "Yeah, when you get your channel up and running, we'll talk and figure something out." So I'll be talking with him soon to see about that. And but I was really all over that.
If he doesn't take you up on the offer in a timely fashion, let me know, because I don't want, again, I'm not trying to steal the thunder if you guys got something worked out and you guys have been planning for a long time. But if you're not going to talk to him at some point, shit or get off the pot and come over and talk about the Vegas shooting.
Well, but here's the thing, though. You can both do it.
I've been talking to you about it for a while.
Everybody does it differently, so you could both do it without
Yeah.
word,
Yeah, I wouldn't wait.
Everybody does things different.
See, one of the, just for the record, like one of the things that I'm trying to do is not necessarily pick something and just report a bunch of information about it, because that's great. That stuff is all really interesting and I love that stuff. But for me, what I'm trying to do is look at a situation, let's say the Vegas shooting, just as an example. What is the relevance of it? What does it mean that we were told all this crazy stuff that doesn't add up? The bigger picture, like so we know this looks suspicious, along with a million other different things, right? That we've been told that don't add up. What is the relevance of it? What could really be going on? That's the type of stuff that I'm really interested in doing. And so, there are people that can do that, zooming in real tight on details way better than I. But my goal is to kind of make sure everything I speak about, I connect it to other things.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. Sounds interesting too.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. I'm also going to be, one of the things I'm going to be doing here shortly is I'm going to be going back over the first trial of Alex Murdaugh and taking a look at the first trial, the opening and closing statements, as well as some of the major highlights of that trial. I probably will do members only videos giving my comments on the first trial before we get ready for the second trial, since it's going to a retrial. I will cover the retrial on the main channel for sure for the public, but maybe my analysis of the first trial might be members only, or it could be public, depending on whether or not there's an audience for it or not. So stay tuned for that as well. So thank you all for coming tonight. We'll see you again tomorrow night. I'll have Sunday off again. Next week is really, really dicey as we head to CrimeCon. Who knows what's available, what's happening there. Thanks, panelists, for coming. And a great show tonight. I really enjoyed it. And you guys have a great evening. It's tomorrow night, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for those who want to come join us again.
The show must go on.
Yep.
The show must go on. Later, dudes.
Have a great night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Everybody.